This is for Fight the Good Fight USA. Um, for instance, during the Cold War, he's debating on certain issues. During the Cold War, the United States was trying to make as many alliances as possible, while the Soviet Union was forcing nations into alliances like Georgia, Kazakhstan, and Afghanistan, which the United States, in the case of Afghanistan, helped to intervene. The United States was not trying to make alliances, it was the United States forcing people into alliances, trying many times to incite coups on other sides of the world because they were scared of the big C word communism for no good reason. They had this irrational fear, and they'd go to other parts of the world, and if they sensed communism or something, they would try to make a coup because they thought that their system of democracy was so much superior and capitalism and free market system. You must remember the United States, for the most part, acts in the interest of the United States, for the most part, exclusively. Our goal in the Middle East is to finish the war in Iraq and Afghanistan and to try to create a peaceful resolution between Israel and Palestine. No, the goal in the Middle East is to try to make oil as cheap as possible for the United States for as long as possible, and to implant and to impregnate Semitic people, the Arab people, with democracy, which is the worst idea I've ever heard in my entire life, and it shows on extreme arrogance and silliness. That's their goal. They want to make a democracy in Iraq. If you believe such a idiotic, for people who are basically believers in the Quran by and large, and they don't believe there should be a democracy. Like any religious person with a thinking mind does not believe there should be democracy, but this is their goal. Okay, in Afghanistan they're fighting an invisible army. They want to find Bin Laden. Okay, President Bush was convinced if you could find Bin Laden before the election, McCain would win. And now, believe me, I don't know if Obama's even going to care so much. They should get out of there and out of Pakistan as quickly as possible. They're making a headache on the other side of the world for no good reason. Personally, I believe Palestinians hold no right to Jerusalem, he writes, or the sacred land of Israel. I don't know what your source is, because they're the sons of Abraham, and Abraham's descendants get the land. The main inheritors, according to the Bible, the 5 books of Moses, is Isaac, his primary son. But Ishmael, which they come from Ishmael, they also have a right to be there. I mean, it's you know. But you must realize, without a U.S. ally, Iran will see no reason why it should hold off nuclear warfare with Israel. I'm not scared of Iran or nuclear weapons with Israel. The minute Iran starts making a nuclear reactor, guess what happens? Israel sends its jets over and bombs it. God protects Israel. We don't need America's help. Let us not forget the Arabs started war with the Israelis in an offensive move on January 9th, of course, in 1948, when approximately 1,000 Arabs attacked Jewish communities in northern Palestine. By February, the British said so many Arabs had infiltrated, they lacked the forces to run them back. In fact, the British turned over bases and arms to Arab irregulars and the Arab Legion. Now, the problem we are currently having in the United States is a liberal government. No, I don't know about that. Liberalism seeks to cut American ties with Israel. Good. I'm a big believer that America should cut ties with Israel. And Israel should stand on its own and not have to worry, should we go into Gaza and get back Gilad Shalit that Hamas stole and he's living in captivity for over 2 years now? Or will the UN come down hard on us and we have to answer to our big brother America, our big sister America? They should cut ties, the sooner the better, and they won't know any true peace in their land until they realize they answer only to God himself and not to America, not to the European Union, with all due respect. Cut American funding to Israel, yes, they should cut funding. Start negotiations with traditional sworn American enemies. Who, America he's talking about? Yeah. Yeah, you have to. He's right. You have to negotiate with enemies. He's right. You know, this whole attitude. We don't negotiate with terrorists. It's like you're on a boat and you start cutting a little hole in your rowboat, and your partner goes, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Don't worry about it. This is my hole. I'm just cutting it on my part of the boat." And he goes, "Idiot! If you cut it, the whole boat's gonna sink, and I die too. I have to care what you do. To ignore terrorists, not to bring them to the table, is stupid. It's immature. It's infantile. I have no words for it. What they think they're going to accomplish by saying we don't negotiate with terrorists. Bring them to the table, ask them what they want. You obviously cannot defeat them. They're much stronger than you, America." Liberalism promotes socialism and communism, while conservatism promotes capitalism. I hope you're not one of these Russians who sold out. Actually, a lot of Russians do not like communism because they lived under it, and it's a very hard life. But just like democracy, okay? It's the same thing in capitalism. We've never seen a purely democratic system functioning according to what is written, and same thing with capitalism. Adam Smith's dream has never been realized. There's no free market in America. Anytime you have a Federal Reserve that tells you how much money should be in the market, that's not called a free market. And now they're bailing out companies. That's not a free market. There's no invisible hand running the markets here. It's government. Now you seem to jump from conservatism to liberalism. Would it be much of a personal question to ask which are you, brother? I have heard the majority of Jews are liberal socialists. I don't like labels, and you can ask me any questions specifically, I'll give you an answer. Labels are for idiots, in my opinion, sir, with all due respect. You can't put a label on someone and think you're going to understand that person. Ask me a specific question, I'll give you a specific answer. Don't try to label me, please. Oh, and do not worry, I promise I will try my hardest not to offend you in any way. I simply ask the same for you. You can offend me, I really don't care. With all due respect, this is me, this is who I am. If I offend you, I'm really sorry, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel on certain things because you're asking me questions. If you get offended, don't ask me anymore, and I won't answer you anymore. Okay? May God Almighty bless you in everything that you do. All the best.